The Ron Sedgy Show, so why don't you?
Welcome to Divine Love Talk with Dr. Parthenia Grant, where we talk about health, well-being, and the love of the divine that exists in all of us. Now, here's your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant.
Okay, this morning we're following up with the previous two shows on happiness and bliss. And of course, we can't leave laughter out of the whole thing, because if we're going to be serious students of enlightenment, or actually my goal, as Kim, you and Vanessa know, is to not have to come back here.
Yeah.
and I don't, and I'm thinking, I can't take myself so seriously. So the whole subject matter came from me looking at a documentary called Laughology, and I want to recommend that to everybody out there who hasn't seen it. It's about 10 years old, and I think it's free on YouTube. So check that out. It goes through the whole history of laughter, and it was done by a guy who just forgot how to laugh after September 11th. He started taking life too seriously, and then his wife got pregnant, and he was thinking, I don't want my child to grow up, not being able to laugh. And he went all over the world, looking at why some cultures are happier than others and how they use laughter to actually heal. So we've got a lot of studies that prove that laughter can actually heal you. It can get rid of stress. And so today's theme is learning to laugh at life and learning to laugh at yourself. I think the hardest thing is to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
So in studio, I have Vanessa Benjamin, and online I have Kim Michaels. Kim?
Yeah, hi.
Oh, welcome. So, Kim, as you can probably tell, since you did the conference last summer, I've lightened up quite a bit.
Yeah, that's true.
and learning to, but a lot of it had to do with being able to look back at a lot of the things that I had gone through, the dark nights of the soul. I've gone through quite a few of them.
Yeah.
And I always came out just fine on the other side. And the last one, Kim, as you know, was very prolonged. And it was a pretty serious beatdown, from a lot of dark people who all kind of ganged up on me at once. But I'm back. And I would have to say that the new attitude came from just learning to look at myself and how I reacted to everything so seriously.
Right.
And, reviewing the whole thing and realizing how absurd and ridiculous the behavior and the accusations and everything that was going on. It was so over the top that you would have to, if I had just laughed at it.
It's like one of those terrible Korean dramas, all the stuff that you went through. It's like, really? That happened?
But she's talking about my life.
Yeah, it was like that was like the cheesy. I've seen that in some sleazy Korean drama somewhere.
And sometimes, I can't really, and Kim, you've had such a sheltered existence in Denmark compared to mine. Probably most people.
Yeah.
Have that, Vanessa and I have been working on a project this week, and as we were talking about things that have happened to me, just to kind of share some, more in-depth your reactions to them.
I was just like, honestly, is that what's going on? Like, you talked about how your butt, that one time my butt caught on fire. Chapter 1.
As a child. It started with getting caught on fire, 3rd-degree burns. And you have to look back on that and go, whoa, what a life.
Yeah. She's got warlocks after her. They're making plans for her and everything. She's like, no.
Yes. So I think just laughing at the darkness, because Kim, in your work with the ego, you've talked a lot about if you laugh at the devil, he disappears because he just has no sense of humor.
Yeah, it's kind of pathetic if you think about it. How desperate, people with egos and that whole just the devil is desperate.
Yeah, and Wade takes himself way too seriously.
Yeah, he's thirsty. He's just way too thirsty.
So Kim, Master Moore talks about laughter. I think the Ascended Masters all have quite a sense of humor. About life. So I'd like for you to probably
They do. I mean, because they don't take themselves seriously anymore, and that's the hallmark of the ego. We take everything so seriously. And of course, what signal are we sending into the cosmic mirror is that we want a very serious world that's threatening.
Right?
And so what else can it give us but what we say we want?
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, very good point. And so I've just made it, I'm just asking everybody out there to join me in not taking everything that happens to you, interpreting it as a matter of life and death. Because, at the end of the day, there really is no death. There is just transformation. And so I think probably the biggest factor in us taking everything so seriously is ultimately it's all going to trickle down to that fear of death. And that's what I talked about in the documentary, Open Up Your Eyes, was ultimately all of our fears boil down to that. And I think when we start looking at our fear of death and examining why we're so afraid, we will see how that fear of death has been used to control us.
And you know what's kind of interesting too? I feel like for me, one of the, I guess, not pitfalls, but like something that was in the way of me being more humorous is the fact that when you get older, being silly is considered immature.
Exactly.
So when you get older, you're like, oh, well, I don't do that anymore. I don't just like, dance around and act funny all the time because I've got stuff to do. You have to take life. My grandfather told me, you got to take life seriously.
And that's the disease. And then what I noticed, really just like the past couple of weeks when you've been over and we've been working, and it's the funniest thing, I need to videotape it. Every time I give Vanessa some food that I've made that she likes, she just automatically goes into this little dance.
It's unconscious. Look, when you put your foot in it, okay?
When she likes the food, I know that it's good.
Yeah.
Because she'll start dancing. And in Texas, whenever you've made a good dish, a compliment is you put your foot in it.
And I say pinky toe and maybe her heel.
So I've just been looking at the fact that you actually have a sense of humor. Because before, I didn't even notice that you had one.
No, I was always really silly. I don't know. That's a side of me that I don't really show to people because it's like, I felt embarrassed because I want to be perceived as mature and together and, being silly, I'll go in. It's
hilarious when you're that way. And Kim, would you talk about that false persona, with the ego wanting to be liked and approved and looked up to?
Yeah, well, let me go back to what you said about the fear of death.
Okay.
Because I think it's actually that we fear the death of whatever we are identified with.
That's true.
So you see a lot of people that fear the death of the physical body because we've been programmed to believe that's all we are.
True.
And that we're going to die when the body dies.
Yeah.
And so I think it really starts with realizing you are much more than the body. You are a spiritual being. You're not going to die when the body dies. And so all of a sudden, if you're not going to die when the body dies, why do you take what happens to the body so seriously?
Exactly. Yeah,
and that,
go ahead,
that then
Kim.
leads into the false persona thing because why do we take the false persona so seriously when we realize we are not going to die when the ego dies?
And I think that's more it than anything else is that the ego is terrified of dying. But at the same time, it's kind of kamikaze and
right, self-destructive.
And self-destructive and insane, because it's always trying to get you to kill yourself.
Right.
So, Kim, I've tried to understand that nature of the ego. You know how it will talk to people and taunt them into killing themselves. Is it just because the ego is an idiot and it's insane? What is that?
No, I don't think so. I think if people go into really a suicidal tendency, it's more than the ego that's at stake. I think there's some dark spirits that have gotten a hold of these people.
That's true. We need to distinguish.
Yeah, but I think the ego will I don't think it will get you to kill yourself as much as it's trying to protect itself from what it perceives as a threat.
Okay.
So rather than getting you to wake up, it will get you to go into something very destructive that will keep you trapped.
Yeah. Okay. And then along with that, what I've noticed is when you're making progress on the spiritual path, there is this resistance by of the ego to grow. And then you also get attacked by other people and, dark energy that just wants to, it's sort of like the crabs in the bucket syndrome. You're getting ready to transcend something and move to another level, and all the crabs in the bucket want to keep you in, and they're going to pull your arm or your leg off because you're trying to, get out of the mass consciousness.
Yeah, but I think also the spiritual path is about freeing ourselves from what the Buddha called attachments.
Yes.
Jesus called it the consciousness of death. And that's the egoic consciousness where we think that something here on earth can define us, define who we are.
Yeah.
And that's what I meant earlier. We're identifying ourselves with something because we think it defines us.
Yeah.
And so the spiritual path is about coming to see these attachments, these beliefs, false beliefs we have that this can define us, and then giving them up. But when have you actually given up a belief? When is it that something no longer defines you? I think that's when you can laugh at it.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you wholeheartedly, and that's how I've been able to laugh at myself and to get Vanessa to lighten up and to laugh at herself, because it's just pointing out to yourself how, in retrospect, that was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that was so nothing to be afraid of. It's sort of like Les Brown telling the story about the bulldog, that chased him home every day. And all the kids were making fun of him because they knew that the bulldog had no teeth.
That's a good one.
But they didn't tell him.
Yeah.
He was a new kid on the block, and they loved seeing him, run like crazy from the bulldog.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a metaphor for us, thinking that, the boogeyman or the monster, they're going to kill us. And at the end of the day, when you know that there is no death, you can kind of laugh, you can just really laugh at people's attempts to literally scare you to death or steal your light. And you can just call it back, through laughter.
Maybe there's an aspect with the whole taking things seriously with the ego of shame, because it's like, it's wrong on some level. I mean, especially for me, like when I see myself in a pattern, it's like, okay, no, this is not right. I don't want to be here.
Right.
But then there's something that
You're
I'm
locked
not
into that reactiveness.
Yeah, and then when it is difficult to laugh because you think, oh wow, I messed up, and then there's that fear of making mistakes.
Yeah.
So
instead of laughing at your mistakes, and I think that that's the only way I've been able to allow myself to continue to grow, is to laugh at myself when I look back at how some of the beliefs I had and how ridiculous they were.
Yeah.
So Kim, can you add to that?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I have many times, gone through a period of uncovering one of these attachments, and you see through it, you begin to understand it. You understand how it's actually limiting yourself, but it's really not until you can laugh at it that you're completely over it.
Yeah.
So if you want to laugh, go to my Facebook page. And I reposted the video of my little dog Rocket trying to walk in his new pair of boots and trying to kick him off at the same time. It's absolutely hilarious. So we'll be back talking more about how you can learn to laugh at life and laugh at yourself and literally get rid of stress, look younger, live longer, and just be happier.
Yeah.
You're listening to Divine Love Talk with my co-host Kim Michaels and my in-studio guest Vanessa Benjamin. I am your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant, and we'll be back with our message from the Ascended Masters right after commercial break.
Yeah.
All right.
Come to Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante in Fullerton, California for authentic family-style Italian dinners. Come to Angelo's and Vinci's and celebrate your party or event in one of our festive banquet rooms. Angelo's and Vinci's, Fullerton, California, 550 North Harbor Boulevard. Named the Orange County Hot List Top 5 Italian restaurant for 7 years in a row. And a Top 10 pizza restaurant by Gale, featuring traditional and award-winning pizzas. Offering Sunday champagne brunch from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., just $16.95. Choose from over 20 items, plus create your own personal omelet. Delicious lunches, including our express lunch buffet, $8.95 with over 15 items. And dinner 7 days a week. Getting married? Angelo's and Vinci's won this year's Wedding Wire Couples Choice Award. You can talk to our experienced staff of wedding coordinators. We treat you as guests at your own wedding reception. It's all at Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton, California. Call 714-879-4022. 714-879-4022.
Hi, friends. This is Larry Minetti. Go to LarryMinetti.com to get my book, Aloha Magnum. You'll read all about the wonderful guest stars like Carol Burnett, Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, and many, many more. Also, there is an episode guide and my favorite recipes that I really cook at home. I will include a free signed photo with every book. Get Aloha Magnum at LarryMinetti.com. Order now. Aloha.
Experience a luxury boutique hotel escape in the heart of Laguna Beach, California, with the finest art gallery, shopping, dining, and nightlife just steps from your door. The heart of Laguna Beach, the edge of the sea. It's the Inn at Laguna Beach. Enjoy our comfortable rooms, blending the style of a timeless beach bungalow with the modern comforts of today. 70 newly appointed guest rooms and suites await you at the Inn at Laguna Beach. Then, relax at the rooftop bar, where you'll indulge in breathtaking views of the ocean. For dining, you'll find libations and local cuisine on the California coastline, including dining at the legendary Las Brisas, a Southern California landmark. The Inn at Laguna Beach, footsteps from room to village to sea, located in the heart of Laguna Beach. The Inn is within walking distance of all that Laguna Beach has to offer. No car required. The Inn at Laguna Beach, 211 North Coast Highway in Laguna Beach, California. Call 800-544-4479 or visit innatlagunabeach.com.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Call right now and receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-785-9618. Donate your car today. That's 1-800-785-9618.
We're back with our weekly message from the Ascended Masters. Here's Kim Michaels.
I am the Ascended Master Aries, and I would like to comment on the topic you have chosen of laughter and happiness. If you go to the very core of the phenomenon of laughter, what is it? Laughter is a release. What does it take for you to be more happy? You need to release the things you are holding on to that are making you unhappy. There are really only two responses in life. You can release or you can hold on. You can decide to flow with life or you can decide to resist life. And of course, there is no question that planet Earth is a very, very difficult planet to embody on. There is so much opposition, there is so much negativity, there is so much darkness and evil on this planet that it is almost a natural response, at least an inevitable response, that you seek to hold on to things because you fear losing them to all the turmoil on the planet. Yet, my beloved, regardless of the fact that this is understandable, the simple fact of life is that if you hold on to something, it will, after some time, begin to define you. The reason for this is that when you're holding on to something, your attention causes your life energies to go into whatever consciousness, whatever thought matrix you're holding on to. And as more and more of your life energy goes there, it starts to actually own you. It starts to affect you. It pulls on your emotions, your thoughts, and eventually it will pull your sense of identity into being identified with something on earth. And if you're identified with something on earth, then you cannot flow with what I have called the river of life, which is the ongoing movement of the entire universe. You are not living in a static universe, and therefore the only way to be truly at peace, truly happy, is to flow with life. That also means you cannot have a fixed idea of what should or should not happen on earth. This is, again, I understand, very difficult because you have been brought up to believe that this is the only world there is and that your life on this earth is very important. But the reality is that you are far more than a physical, material human being. What happens on earth does not define you, but it can be used in order to help you grow. So planet Earth is a schoolroom. It is not the only world there is. There is a world beyond Earth where you also have an existence. And once you begin to tune into this fact, and this is what we have given you tools and teachings to do, then you can begin to realize that you do not need to take anything on life so seriously. In fact, you can come to a point where you can look at planet Earth and say that whatever happens here is only an event. It is not necessarily good, it is not necessarily bad, and it does not define you. In other words, you can stop resisting certain events. For example, how many of you are resisting getting ill? But my beloved, if you could stop resisting and flow through whatever experience you have and simply accept that experience as a necessary part of your growth, you would be surprised at how often things can be healed. Even physical diseases can be healed by allowing yourself to release the consciousness behind it and therefore flow through the experience instead of resisting it. This, my beloved, is a general principle that I have described in great detail in my 3-book series, A Course in Abundance, which goes into the entire consciousness, the entire psychology of why human beings hold on to things and resist flowing, when in reality it is so much better for you to flow with the river of life rather than seeking to hold on to something that you cannot hold on to anyway on earth.
Wow. Thank you so much, Kim Michaels and Mother Mary, for that very relevant discourse. And we will be back after commercial break with more things about learning to laugh at yourself and laugh at life. You're listening to Divine Love Talk. I'm your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant. That was Kim Michaels with Transcendence Toolbox. And we have Vanessa Benjamin in studio who is learning to laugh at herself. We'll be back with more after commercial break.
You're experiencing pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, or hand pain, pain from a sports injury. If so, schedule a visit with Dr. Michael Sheps, the leading expert in laser therapy for pain management. Call 310-873-4422 or go to drsheps.com. Experience Epic T, the breakthrough laser therapy system that Dr. Sheps developed to make you pain-free in less time. Laser therapy is a non-invasive, safe, and effective in-office procedure that penetrates deep into your skin without damaging the tissue. It perfectly targets areas of pain to promote fast, natural healing. Relax your muscles, ease muscle spasms, joint stiffness, and arthritis pain while increasing blood circulation. For over 25 years, Dr. Sheps has helped Olympic athletes and sports enthusiasts alike get back in the game. Schedule your visit with Dr. Sheps at his Brentwood office in California. Call 310-873-4422 or visit drsheps.com. That's DRSHEPS.com, 310-873-4422.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane tickets, domestic or international, is to call SmartFares first or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane tickets. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and SmartFares can save you up to 75% on your plane tickets. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500 airlines, and you've got a great 12-hour free cancellation window. Plus, with our live agent help, you can always get fast help and fast answers. So on your next trip, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, how about right now? Pick up your phone and call SmartFares, plus save up to 75% on your plane reservation. So call right now. 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644.
CRN listeners, when you come to Southern California, stop by a great restaurant, the Dresden Restaurant at 1760 North Vermont Avenue in Hollywood. Enjoy great entertainment, like the music of the legendary Marty and Elaine at the world-famous Dresden Restaurant. The Dresden was a location for the making of the movie Swingers. Now you can swing with stars Marty and Elaine. Plus, enjoy great food, too, like French onion soup, artichoke hearts, and many other great appetizers. Seafood, there's salmon, shrimp scampi, New Zealand orange roughy, halibut, Lake Superior whitefish, and specialties like veal marsala, piccata, and parmigiana. Plus, we've got a great roast rack of lamb, chicken piccata, and cordon bleu, and pasta dishes, too. Steaks, filet, New York, Chateaubriand for two. Much more, too, including pork chops, prime rib of beef, and an incredibly extra large cut of prime rib. It's the Dresden Restaurant, open for lunch Monday through Saturday and dinner Monday through Sunday. Check us out at 1760 North Vermont Avenue or call 323-665-4294.
So you've missed the healthcare deadline and don't have any form of healthcare? Liberty HealthShare has the answer. Liberty HealthShare offers an affordable healthcare option that allows Americans to enroll any time of the year. For those of you who have already enrolled but just aren't satisfied with what you've chosen, there's still hope. Liberty HealthShare allows Americans to control, manage, and direct their health care, yet still be in good standing with the Affordable Care Act. Members are exempt from the tax penalty and mandates imposed on individuals for not having health care insurance, thus giving you freedom from insurance. Liberty HealthShare empowers their members by giving them the ability to choose any doctor or hospital across the nation. Memberships are for individuals, couples, and families, offering a variety of options to best suit an individual's medical needs. If you're a freedom-loving American like myself, looking for contract-free healthcare, then this is for you. For more information on how to enroll at any time of the year, call 855-585-4237 or visit libertyhealthshare.org to request a free estimate. Do it today.
Okay, we're back with more of Divine Love Talk and learning to laugh at life and yourself. I mean, that is the most important thing. So, Vanessa, you had a comment about something you learned from Mother Mary's dictation.
How laughter is like a release.
It totally is.
Yeah, I'll literally spend like my free time watching stuff that's funny because that's the only thing that really like makes me feel good if I'm feeling bad, you know?
Well, and you know, and Mother Mary talked about how we spend a lot of time resisting disease and illness and all of that, and how if you just kind of let go, the body can heal itself. It's quite capable of healing itself. And you know, look, with my last bout with lupus, I made that decision that I'm done with fighting this. You know, I'm just going to, I already know how to do the diet. I know how to detox. And the main issue was stress and learning to manage the stress and not give my power over to people, you know, that were attacking me by just not reacting to them. And so really the key factor is to not stress out when you're dealing with a symptom or you're dealing with a flare-up. So Kim, that was an amazing dictation as usual.
Yeah, and I think actually if we'd had more time, she would have gone into the topic of crying, because that's also a release. And you know how you can cry out of frustration. And that doesn't really release anything, but you can come to a certain point where it's almost like in a sense, you might feel like you're giving up, but I think you're just actually releasing, and that's very cathartic and healing when you come to that point. So I think she wanted to make the point that of course she understands that many people have had very difficult life experiences, and that they can't necessarily release it by laughing at it. You can't just tell somebody to laugh at whatever terrible thing they have gone through, and therefore crying can also be a very therapeutic way of doing it. But if you can then release through crying, I think you can learn even to laugh at some of the things that have happened to us. And I think you can even get to a point where you don't really need to laugh or cry anymore, because you just know the value of what Mother Mary calls surrender and letting go. And so you can just release. It's like once you see the mechanism and see how it's controlling your emotions, you can just learn to release it.
Well, and that's a cogent point about, I've had those moments of surrender, especially with the last bout of lupus where, I was just like, okay, I allowed myself to cry through it and not fight the tears, but it's in those tears of surrender that I got my greatest gifts and my greatest insights and inspiration. So I'm totally an advocate of crying if you need to cry. And especially with people who come to me for therapy, they have to cry. And it's in the crying that we can laugh after, after the tears are over. We can find something. I can always find something funny, about the whole situation on the other side of it that the person can look at and laugh at. Because remember, we won't call any names, but with one of my exes, that email that I got, that was so insane.
There's literally a cat video. Do you remember how it was like I had my mouth wide open? There's a cat video where the cat was doing the same thing. Because he was just like, are you serious?
Oh, you mean when we were reading the email, Kim?
I was like,
It was so insane. Like anybody else would have gotten scared, at what they were reading, and it was so ridiculous. I stopped. At first, you were really serious. Your mouth was wide open, and then I'm laughing at it, and I'm going, "This is so crazy. You have to laugh at it."
Yeah, it just kind of came out of left field. And the thing with comedy, I like stuff that's like random or absurd, anyways. So it is pretty funny. I mean, he's trying.
It just wasn't working.
Right.
Might have worked, like a couple of years ago, but not in retrospect. So I think so much of it is choosing not to give our power away to someone else who is trying to threaten us or manipulate us or literally just steal our light. Once you're on to them and you know their game, then they have no power. So, Kim, I'd like for you to comment on that.
Yeah, but I also think that it's almost like the ego always thinks it can control everything.
Yes.
So something happens, other people do something, and the first response of the ego, it wants to control these people.
Right.
Or whatever condition it is. But you can come to a point where you simply realize that there is absolutely nothing you can do or say that will change other people's minds.
Exactly.
Or it can be an outer condition, a disease or whatever. And it's almost like when you accept that, you can't change it. Exactly. Then you can either laugh or cry, and in the laughing or crying, you can release the whole desire for control.
Yeah.
And then you are free. I mean, that really frees up your entire energy, because so much energy goes into this trying to control everything.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that, Vanessa,
I can relate.
you can talk to that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, if I could just get this person to do this, and then everything will be okay.
Yeah.
If the world would just be this one way, then I'll be happy, which is not true.
And if I could just herd some cats.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try that one.
That's true.
Yeah, but that's what the masters have talked about in several books, and Mother Mary talks about it in the book she mentioned, the Course in Abundance, is that we have all been programmed to believe that the only way to change our inner condition is to first change something outside ourselves. Because we've been brought up to believe that if only we get out of situation a certain way, first of all by buying some kind of product, then we will automatically be happy.
Yeah.
What's interesting is so long after I'd finished the books, and I was working
the
through
Course in Abundance.
Yeah, and I was working through like not seeing that, you know, you like when she says you have to smile in the mirror first in order for the mirror to smile back.
Exactly.
And
right.
every time I would, you know, try to work through a situation, I was still doing the whole like, okay, mirror, when are you gonna smile at me for me to be happy? And then it isn't until those releases happen, I'm like, oh yes, okay, I forgot. I have to be happy first, and then change it, and then it'll change, and then, or if it doesn't, at least have some, or at least not try to control it and accept it.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with Kim on that for sure.
Yeah, and for me, like being able to laugh at your exes and their crazy attempts to try to lure you back in or manipulate or control you.
You got some crazy, I mean, and they are a little pathetic. Like, they all keep trying.
A lot pathetic.
You know, it's like, how many years have we been broken up? And you still
at it.
Just leave me alone.
And you know, I don't have a need to try to make them understand anymore.
Right.
Or, you know, and I also understand that, okay, they just want to engage me.
And I mean, they're so far gone, they're not going to get it, you know what I mean?
Totally.
They're not trying to, they're like, no, Parthenia, you need to get it, okay?
No, but you can just see that they are still caught in the game.
It's a game.
Right. Thinking that they have to control you
yes.
in order to change their state of mind.
Yeah, and there's something they want from me that I am not about to give. I know what it is. They want my light.
And they honestly believe that they can get it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, eventually. Yeah. Eventually she'll get it.
She's going to, this last one wanted me to voluntarily give consent through manipulation.
Right.
So it's easy, I think, if you just look at the absurdity of some people's behavior and their need to control you or to control and manipulate, you know, you and other people, and you can laugh at that. Because you don't have to give your power away, and you don't have to respond, and you don't have to participate. You can just laugh and let it go and say, bless you.
Right. The best comedic punchline in movies are people in their egos.
Oh,
if you think about it,
yeah.
they model every funny or crazy absurd character around the extremes of the ego.
Totally.
Yeah.
And again, going back to, you know, why we need to laugh at ourselves and what Mother Mary was saying about how difficult this planet is. I was telling Vanessa, Crystal and I were telling Vanessa last night about when I broke my foot and my toe last year and how I was just... nobody can believe that, like, I don't cry when I break bones or anything. Yeah. I'm just so calm. And Krista was telling Vanessa how, you know, she called me and said, sweetie, I think I broke my foot.
Before you come and get me, can you go to Free People? I have a shirt on reserve that I need you to get real quick. And they come and get me.
I need to wear that to the emergency room.
Right. What am I going to wear to the doctor's office? I gotta look good. You know how I am. You know how I am.
I mean, totally. And then when she comes home and she takes me to the emergency room and they get me in my cast, and then the next day, you know, I'm in crutches and I'm so happy. I'm like, yay, I can get around. And Crystal's saying, Mom, no, don't try to carry that. And I'm carrying a cup of coffee, trying to pick up a book with my crutches. And then I break my toe, and my toe is sticking up.
Because she smashed it with the crutch, guys, okay? She smashed it with the crutch.
But I didn't. I went, ouch! And then I fell out laughing because I looked at the toe and it was like sticking up in this weird position.
Oh my God.
And I was going, who does this to themselves? And then the people at the emergency room, when I go back, they're like, what? You again?
You're like, oh no, I'm not touching you.
But they were just so... It was so much fun for them, you know, to work with me because I came in lighthearted and laughing and, you know, just having a good time with it because it wasn't going to keep me down.
Right.
So I think that, you know, sharing our stories of triumph, you know, in the face of tragedy. I mean, most people would have looked at it like, oh, my God, I'm going to be in a wheelchair for 6 months and in a boot. I was out of that wheelchair in, 6 weeks.
I'm going salsa dancing with this broken toe. I'm going to do the bachata. Ain't nothing going to stop me.
And I think that's the attitude we have to have about life because, you know, what's his name? Hemingway said, life breaks everybody, but it's how you mend in the broken places. And I mend well in the broken places.
True.
And I like to be an example. So, Kim, I'd like for you to throw in a comment there.
Yeah, well, I disagree with good old Ernst in many things. But I don't think it breaks everybody. It breaks our attachments, our egos, our attempt to control.
Okay.
Because it can't break us.
It can if you let it, though.
No, you can't break. It's only when you have an attachment to something. And that can break. Because you think about what the masters have said, everything is there's two ways to learn. You know, there's a school of hard knocks.
Yes.
There's a school of letting go. And if you have some attachment and you won't listen to your own inner intuition, you won't listen to other people, how is life going to get you free from that attachment unless it breaks the attachment? And as the attachment breaks, if you're so identified with it, you think it's broken you. But it hasn't. You're still alive, right?
Oh, the ego is the one that crawls into the hole
only
when
the ego
things happen.
that breaks. You know, it's only that part of the ego that was so identified with this. That's the only thing that can break.
Okay.
And I think that was one of the greatest things for me on the spiritual path when I realized that there was absolutely nothing that really could control or break me on earth if I wasn't
know that.
attached to it.
Yeah. No,
because I am a spiritual being. I'm a formless being. What in form can really touch me?
Yeah. Well, you know, on an intuitive level, I've always known that. You know, it's like I get broken bones, I get broken hearts, I get broken feelings.
Right.
I get broken, you know, things taken from me, stolen from me, but it never breaks my spirit.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting that it's a little revelation. It's a little bit of a revelation for me because with the whole anxiety thing, I was always afraid of being hurt.
Yeah.
And then the only thing that can be hurt or broken was the ego.
Yeah. No, that's a great perspective, Kim.
Thank you.
So you kind of have to identify what is it in me that I'm attached to that I think can get broken.
Yeah.
And then you need to look at that, because if you can free yourself from it, then life doesn't have to break it, right?
Yeah.
That's
Well-
really
It's not like-
empowering.
Yeah.
Life doesn't go out of its way, and you know, if it doesn't have to. Life is very economical.
Oh,
you know.
wait. Life is very what?
Economical. So if it can help you get the insight and let go of the attachment, it's not going to bother putting you in some situation that breaks the attachment.
Okay. And see that's another good point, because when you move, look, if you choose to stay in the school of hard knocks, it's going to get harder and harder and harder. And the breaks are going to be more difficult. But if, like Kim said, what did you call it? It's either the school of hard knocks or the others?
Well, the school of inner enlightenment or you know, inner release, where you simply
inner release.
you come to see it, you know.
Well,
And there are, of course, many people who get broken, they don't see it. And so, like you said, then it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Well, you know, not in defense of Hemingway, but I think maybe that might have been what he was alluding to, you know, and it's all about how you mend in the broken places, because I don't think you can live on planet Earth and not be
But I would have to add the perspective here that what do you mean with mending? Because if mending means getting back into a sense where you think you are in control, that's not what I call mending.
Well, no, I mean mending in the sense of when you get a broken bone, if it's set properly, it's actually stronger in that place where it was broken than, you know, the people who don't properly take the time to learn the lesson.
I understand that, and and I'm not a Hemingway expert, but I have read a little bit about his things, and I think that he meant that you can get back into a state of control, and this is exactly what the ego wants you to do.
Probably, yeah. He was very egotistical. That's true. I mean,
he was. He
I
was
had
very,
to study
very attached
all
to
of his
certain
works.
things about his reputation and this and that, and
Very
that is
true.
why he killed himself in the end.
That's
because
very true.
In the end, he realized he was never going to get back in control.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's very, very true.
Wow.
All right, great insights there, Ken. All right, you're listening to Divine Love Talk. I'm your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant. That was my co-host, Kim Michaels with Transcendence Toolbox, and my in-studio guest, Vanessa Benjamin. We'll be back wrapping this up on how you can use laughter to literally heal your life.
Experience your home away from home being beachfront at the Kaanapali Beach Hotel. Begin your getaway relaxing on over 11 acres of tropical Hawaiian gardens at Hawaii's most Hawaiian hotel, voted Best Aloha Spirit by Hawaii Magazine readers. Just walking around the grounds with all the tropical vegetation, relaxing poolside, or kicking back in the sun on the world-renowned Kaanapali Beach makes you feel like you're home in paradise. There's a package to fit all your needs: wedding, honeymoon, activities, private parties, great food, or just good old beach fun. The hotel perpetuates the Hawaiian tradition at its best. Call 661-0011 or visit kbhmaui.com.
Kaanapali Beach Hotel, Maui's Hawaiian Hotel.
Are you looking to increase the number of calls you receive at your business? Well, CRN Talk is introducing a new way for customers to reach you without having to remember your phone number or web address. Customers simply dial pound 250 from their mobile phones to say your business name. That's it. They'll be directed immediately to your phone line and receive a text message with a link to your website and phone number. It's that easy. It works so well that we're using it in this commercial. To sign up, dial pound 250 and say, "Help my business." That's pound 250, "Help my business."
Attention! This important consumer alert is brought to you by CBC Funding. Hey, did you know it's possible to receive upfront money from your structured settlement, annuity, or pending lawsuit? It's true. If you are receiving a structured settlement spread out over time and you want a lump sum amount delivered immediately, then you need to call CBC Funding. With your cash today, you can pay off credit card debt, pay medical bills, fund your education, or improve your home. You don't need to wait. Structured settlements are commonly used to resolve personal injury lawsuits. Annuities, they're designed to spread payments out over 10 or 20 years. For many of you in need of money today, this simply does not work. If you have a structured settlement and you want cash now, call CBC Settlement Funding. Here's the number: 800-303-4607, 800-303-4607, 800-303-4607.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Call right now and receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-785-9618. Donate your car today. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Okay, we're back wrapping this up with Divine Love Talk. And I was thinking that when you look, like when I was growing up with kids, it was all about kids going outside and playing and laughing. That's all you would hear. Kids would be running around playing and laughter. It's just natural and it's automatic. And what I've noticed today with kids, when you see them playing, it's a lot of screaming.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't hear the laughter that I used to hear. Like when I go to the Galleria and they have like this little play area for the kids, there's way more screaming and crying than laughter. And so I think it's kind of indicative of the times that we live in, where we just react so poorly to stress that there's a lot more screaming and anger versus trying to find the humor in it. So what are your thoughts on that, Vanessa?
Well, maybe they're getting it from the parents or something.
That was what
I
was
the
thinking.
parents are too serious and they don't allow their kids.
And they hear the parents screaming all the time?
Yeah, or they want to, like, out of what they think love is. Oh, you can't do that. That's dangerous. You can't be sillier in some way, because they started really, really young, where they make a child ashamed of being
playful or laughing.
You know, because it's like, well, no, you have to get things done, and we have to prepare you for the real world.
And shaming them for laughing too loud. I remember that as a kid. I would get shamed for laughing too loud.
Right.
And, I have a weird laugh. So, Kim, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good things there. I think one thing that affects kids a lot is Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh my God! Yes.
Is there anything but screaming?
Oh my goodness!
That
and
is
violence and craziness.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I moved to the U.S., because I haven't always lived a sheltered life in Denmark, I was shocked at Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it.
Bugs Bunny and all the smoking and shooting.
And the
It was
Road Runner.
supposed to be funny, but it was 90% screaming.
Yeah. I didn't think they were funny as a kid.
No, I didn't think as an adult, but I thought that could be me. But getting back to Hemingway, I think that Hemingway was sort of the last macho man.
Yes, he was.
He represented that archetype of the macho man.
Yeah.
But look at American movies and how they're still perpetuating that image.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I think that Vanessa is right that parents are getting more and more frustrated. But I think it's because both men and women are holding on to an image of themselves that actually should have died a long time ago.
Yeah, like
trying to keep it alive, and it is becoming more and more frustrating to try to do so.
Well, and that's why I celebrated the death of Prince Charming and the damsel in distress. She died waiting on it. So we need a new archetype. We need new models, and I think the young people are going to have to look at the old relationships and the old paradigms and see what works and keep that, and what doesn't work, throw it out, and then try something new.
Or even a new archetype for maturity.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to lose that
You can be
childlike and silly-
childlike
Yeah.
and not be childish.
And laugh at things and have fun. And
So, Kim, I'm going to let you close out.
Well, I think it's very, very important to laugh at ourselves, and I really think that if you can't laugh at yourself, it's because there's some kind of attachment you haven't seen. And then the Ascended Masters have given us so many amazing teachings and tools to help us see those and let them go.
Especially Master Moore. He's got a great sense of humor.
He got jokes.
Okay, so go to Transcendence Toolbox and check out those tools. And check out Facebook with Lil Rocket. Oh, my goodness. Kim, you got to see that one. It'll make you laugh.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, we'll be back next week, and we're going to keep the laughter going.
Yeah.
Are you tired of hearing your favorite talk radio show sound like this? What if you could hear your favorite shows in crystal clear, high definition digital